Hi guys, so today I'm going to have Felix do your reading for you. Your job is to listen and then complete the activities at the end of our story.
Roz was in no hurry to leave the tree. She stayed on her branch long after the bears were gone, enjoying some peace and looking herself over. In addition to bite marks and claw marks, the robot was also covered in dust, which, of course, meant it was time for another cleaning. She was making good progress when she felt something sticky on her arm. The problem with sitting in a pine tree is eventually the tree's sticky resin will find you. It always does. And it found Roz. The robot scrubbed and scraped at the resin, and soon her fingers were completely coated in the sticky stuff. And then it was all over her arms and legs and her torso. And things were about to get even messier. A robin swooped into the field and began screeching and fluttering around Roz. The bird had recently finished building herself a new nest. It was a little work of art, a delicate basket woven from grass and twigs and feathers. And it was right above the robot's head. "Screech! Screech!" said the robin. "I do not understand you, Robin," said the robot. The robin continued screeching and fluttering. Then she splattered her droppings across the robot's face. The bird was serious, so Roz scooted away farther out on the branch until she heard a quick, sharp crack. Before Roz knew what was happening, the tree branch snapped under her weight and she went crashing to the forest floor. She hit the ground hard and lay there as broken branches and pine cones and needles showered down on top of her. There was another splat, and then quiet returned to the forest. Roz was a mess. She lay under the tree, covered in a heap of broken branches and pine cones and needles. She still hadn't removed the sticky resin from her body, and then there was the bird droppings. She was about to get up when she noticed to give herself a rigorous cleaning when she noticed a particular twig. The twig was moving. It was crawling along one of the broken branches on the ground. With a gentle touch, the robot picked up the twig. "Hello, stick insect. My name is Roz. You are very well camouflaged." The stick insect's body was long and thin. He had the same shape and colors and markings as a real twig, but if you look closely, you might see 2 tiny eyes and 2 spindly antennae. The insect didn't make the sound, and he sat perfectly still as the robot. The two of them sat still and silently stared at each other for a while. "Thank you, stick insect," said Roz as she placed him back where she found him. "You have taught me an important lesson. I can see how camouflage also helps you survive. Perhaps it can help me survive also." As you know, reader, Roz has always liked to keep herself as clean as possible, but her desire to stay alive was stronger than her desire to stay clean. So the robot decided it was time she got dirty. Roz was going to camouflage herself. She'd gotten the idea from the stick insect, but Roz quickly realized that camouflaging herself out as a twig was out of question. No, the robot would have to blend in to the landscape itself. She began by smearing handfuls of thick mud over her entire body. Then she plucked ferns and grasses from the ground and sank their roots into her new muddy coating. She placed colorful flowers around her face to disguise her glowing eyes, and any bare patches were covered with tree leaves with strips of moss. Our robot now looked like a great tuft of plants walking through the forest. She waited for darkness, then she padded to the center of a clearing, nestled herself between some rocks, and became part of the landscape. A few hours later, the sky was brightening, the fog was lifting, and the nighttime animals were slinking home, and the daytime animals were beginning to stir. It was just an ordinary morning on the island. However, there was a new tuft of plants in the one forest clearing. Only the bees had noticed the tuft. They buzzed around it, completely unaware that the robot was hidden beneath. So Roz sat there, right in the open, yet completely unseen, and observed the wildlife around her. She watched flowers slowly turn toward the sun. She listened to rodents crawl through the weeds. She smelled the moist, piney air. She felt worms wiggle between her muddy sides. A week later, the tuft of plants was gone, but there was a new clump of seaweed on the shore. A week after that, the clump of seaweed was gone, but there was a new bramble on the mountain. Then there was a new log in the riverbank, then a new rock in the forest. Clouds scudded through the sky. Spiders spun intricate webs. Berries beckoned to hungry mouths. Fox stalked hares. Mushrooms rose from a leaf litter. Turtles plopped into ponds. Moss spread across tree roots. Vultures hunched over carcasses. Ocean waves beat against the coastline. Tadpoles became fish. Caterpillars became butterflies. The camouflaged robot observed it all. It started with the birds. They had always been skittish when the robot was near. They would stare and screech and then scatter. But now that Roz was camouflaged, she could secretly observe their normal behavior right up close. Roz noticed chickadees fluttering through the same flowers and singing the same song every morning. She noticed a lark who swooped down to the same rock and sang the same song every afternoon. She noticed the same two magpies singing to each other from across the same meadow every evening. After weeks of robotically studying the birds, Roz knew what each bird would sing, and when they would sing, and eventually why they would sing. The robot was beginning to understand the birds, but she was also beginning to understand the porcupines and the salamanders and the beetles. She discovered that all the different animals shared one common language. They just spoke in the language in different ways. You might say each species spoke with its own unique accent. When Roz first listened to the chickadees, their songs had sounded like twee twiddle, twee twiddle. But now when the chickadees sang, Roz heard, "Oh, what a lovely day it is! Oh, what a lovely day it is!" Deer spoke mostly with their bodies. By simply turning her head, a doe could say to her family, "Let's go look for clovers by the stream." Snakes often hissed themselves things like, "I know there's a tasty mouse around here somewhere." Bees were very little. They used their wings to buzz a few simple words like nectar and sun and hive. Frogs spent most of their time searching for each other. One would croak, "Where are you? I can't see you." And then another one would reply, "I'm over here. Follow my voice." When Roz first stomped across the island, the animal squawks and growls and chirps had sounded like nothing more than meaningless noises. But now she no longer heard animals' noises. Now she heard animal words.